Yeah, I imagine that it'd be a pretty dark future if Cody was in that situation. I don't know how fast he's repopulating.
Get laid,
make friends.
And Josh would have been dead for the past 20 years after the virus.
Welcome to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we review the first volume of a brand new manga each week. My name is Josh Magic Michaels, and today I'm joined by
Megan Preen
and
Cody.
We're still quarantined, but hopefully next week we'll be back in the same room with each other. I miss being in the same room as you guys.
I know.
I miss you guys.
Totally.
It's so sad.
I missed the part about not having COVID.
I mean,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's the
crazy
part I missed.
how two of us got it from someone.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to point fingers, but at the same time, you definitely could. So just know that you'll never live this down forever. Thanks.
Okay, well, what about the person who gave it to me? I feel like we're not talking about that person enough, okay?
Yeah.
We're talking about the person who gave it to us.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, that's how it works.
No.
They're not saying they're mad at you, Josh, that you gave him COVID, but just they'll never forgive you. That's all.
Well,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are
yeah.
also saying that we're mad at you, so.
And
Okay.
serious.
Oh, they are mad.
I'll
I'll never forgive you. I'm mad. And you will suffer.
I'm a victim of this as well, Cody. Anyway, today is another very special episode to help us out while we're all quarantined. We've brought on another one of the infamous Baka Boys. We have him on as a guest today. If you haven't checked out their channel, you can check out Baka Boys Podcast on YouTube. And today we're joined by none other than at Buckshot. Did I say that right?
You did.
Kiernan.
Nice.
Let's give a round of applause for Kiernan, guys.
Yay!
Thank you. Yes, Buckshot with a W. That is me, otherwise known as Kiernan. What's up? I'm glad to be here, guys. I'm glad to talk about some manga with you guys. Nice change of pace. I do want to bring up one thing before we start. I do have an issue with the podcast and with you guys' podcast, and I want to bring it up on air. I wanted to get your live reaction.
Okay.
I just don't understand how you can knowingly have Megan on this podcast when she has a Sue body pillow in the background.
Okay.
Well, that's why she's on.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Oh, okay. So you guys all have bad taste in favorite characters. Gotcha.
Oh, this is coming from someone who was defending Deku on our tier list video.
Oh, yeah. Now that you're on our podcast,
Yeah,
bring this
yeah,
stuff
exactly.
up. First of all, Sue is best girl.
Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck? I am shocked. I was like, okay, he's gonna bring up Subaru. He's gonna bring up fucking ReZero again.
I thought he was going to tell us to kick Cody off the podcast, and I was like,
No, it's gonna be you.
Damn. I was shook.
I really feel like majority of people would have to agree with me.
Okay, what is the best
That's
girl in My
insane.
Hero then? Yeah, that is insane.
I don't know. Here's the thing, though. I don't feel like My Hero doesn't have a lot of waifus to begin with. Would you agree with that? It doesn't have that many.
Okay,
Not
but
at all.
out of the best.
Not
Well,
Sue.
well, yeah, she
Momo.
yeah, Momo. She might be the best of the worst because they're all pretty
Yeah,
bad.
she also doesn't do
exactly.
anything.
Yeah. Anyone that says
So,
Ochako is a waifu is incorrect. She's
An actual plot point in My Hero was Momo was like, look, I can make night vision goggles, and someone was like, no, I already got them.
Cool. Thanks, Momo. Thanks, Momo. You're the best.
Thanks, but also no thanks.
Yeah.
thanks, but I'm good.
Well, thank you for being here, Kiernan. You suggested that you recommended to us that we review Seraph of.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it, dude. I got it. Thank you.
You suggested to recommend that we
I fucked it up.
recommendingly suggesting.
Yeah,
Oh
I had
my
it.
God.
I had it, and then I fucked it up, and then you drew more attention to it, and now it's a thing.
Look
and now
how
it's a
red he's
moment.
getting.
You can tell. I thought you wouldn't be able to tell. I can't.
Wow.
I can
Thanks.
It
tell.
does not take much for the red cam to have.
Red
Not even
cam.
5.
It doesn't
Not
work
even
when I
5
don't have my
minutes.
wig on.
Oh, no.
Not even 5 minutes. My presence has already caused so much chaos.
I know, dude. It's because I get nervous when I'm around you, dude. Whenever I get around a handsome man, you know what I mean?
You're such a kiss ass.
But you suggested that we review Seraph of the End, which is a series that I really knew nothing about before you mentioned it. And I don't know if Cody and Megan, if you guys know anything about it, but I want Kiernan to give us his sort of synopsis of the series before we jump into it.
Oh boy, how do I Gosh, I did. Okay, so just to clarify, I literally caught up on the most recent chapter of the manga yesterday. So I have the entire story at my disposal, except for obviously what hasn't been written yet. But for a non-spoilery synopsis, the series takes place, I want to say it's 5 years after essentially a huge, some kind of catastrophe eradicated and like killed off all adults in the world. And I think only kids under the age of 12 or 13 were immune. At least that's what the main characters are. That's the way they understand it. And so
seems a little familiar. Am I right?
Exactly. This is where we're going. This is where we're on the way to Seraph the End being RIL. But anyways, it's about the main character is a kid named Yurichiro, and he, due to traumatic events as a child, he hates the vampires that have taken over the world since the humans have been killed off, and so he dedicates his life to training to be the best fighter he can be to kill the vampires and get vengeance for his family and humanity. That's
a pretty good synopsis, dude.
Let's see. Solid synopsis.
Yeah, solid.
Let's see if the official synopsis is worse, which I'm sure it will be because it always is.
It's probably gonna be super spoiler filled too.
Yeah, I know, and I'll try to skip things that are spoilery. But it says a young man named Yurichiro joins a vampire extermination unit to avenge the death of his orphan family and reclaim his best friend Mikhaila. I'm just gonna end it there because that's a little bit of a spoiler.
That's already too spoilers.
yeah. And then I'm honestly I can't read any more of the synopsis because it gets a little spoilery after that. So yeah, Kiernan's is obviously better. But Megan and Cody, what did you guys expect going into this manga? Had you heard of it before?
Yeah, I've seen it around. When did the anime come out? I think like
the anime came out in 2015. That's when it was first
2015, and I remember seeing like some hype behind it because I think that's when Attack on Titan season 1 came out. 2?
2.
Yeah. Okay.
Season 2,
okay.
or it was airing at the time. I think like part 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was, and it like overshadowed.
Totally. That's why I kind of like, I was like, okay, well, I didn't even watch Attack on Titan season 2 during that time, but I saw this come out and I knew something about vampires, which I'm really down for because I love a good vampire anime. I know people say it's overdone, but if it's done well, like I just watched Shiki for the first time. Have you ever seen Shiki?
But I know what it is.
It's fucking chef's kiss. It's really good. Kind of boring, but if you hang on, it's pretty good. But I've seen it. I know the main characters, how they look, so I was like, oh, I'm excited to read it and watch it. So
speaking of what you brought up, the fact that Attack on Titan was airing around it and like overshadowed it, but the fun fact is that they are literally made by the same studio.
Yeah.
Same year, same studio.
Studio Wit, and dude, I can't believe how much this anime holds up still in 2020, man. I mean, for that having come out in 2015 is amazing. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's only been 5 years. That's not.
I mean,
yeah, but still,
lots changed in 5 years.
Yeah, when I think of a series from 2000, there are some shitty series from 2015. I feel like that weren't as beautifully animated.
Yeah,
name 2
in the studio.
Name 2, Cody. I don't off the top of my head. I don't know.
Oh, okay, you're just saying things.
I just say stuff sometimes.
Okay.
Wow, Cody's coming out.
Yeah,
Cody is
that's how you know Cody's starting to feel better when he's in attack mode again. last episode he was melting into the bottom of the screen, and now he's perked up, ready to pounce.
Subdue me.
He's ready to go
with the deadliest virus in the world. He tried to mute me, but I'm back.
Yeah, and I did not succeed.
Yeah, no.
Cody, what did you think going into this? What did you expect?
I thought it was gonna be Shonen vampire, because I don't read synopsis going into stuff anymore. So I just, based on like the first 2 pages, I'm like, oh, okay, it's like kids fighting vampires, I guess, or is it slice of life slavery?
Slice of life slavery. Yeah, and then quickly it all changes.
Yeah, which I was happy about that.
Yeah, I
thought it was gonna be kids yelling at each other, and then one guy being like, "We need to stay together," and then they do. But
and then they do, and that's it.
It kind of starts like, I don't know, certain things that it reminds me of. It kind of starts like a little bit Promised Neverland-esque, a little bit.
Yes, I think that's why when I watched Promised Neverland, I was so into it at first, because it reminded me a lot of it. You know, kind of like naive kids in like a fucked up world, and they don't have any idea.
Yeah.
What the real dangers of the world are.
Yeah, and
they still don't.
And that's
They
a compliment
still
because that series, Seraph of the End was really cool, but Promise Neverland to me is amazing. It's such a great series.
Yeah, it's like Promise Neverland meets Attack on Titan.
And then a little bit of Bleach in there.
Bleach
A little bit of Bleach.
Blue Exorcist, kind of, with
Oh,
the
okay.
demons
Yeah,
and
I could
stuff.
see that. I could see Blue Exorcist.
It kind
I
of
could definitely
reminded
see
me of that. And Chainsaw Man making fucking deals with devils or demons, so there's
I did think that too.
So you guys all three finished the first volume.
I finished the first volume and I
Yes.
watched like 7 episodes of the anime.
Same.
Gotcha.
I watched
I think
2.
maybe I'm like 8 in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I've seen the anime past where the first volume ended, and to that
Where
point,
did the
real
first
quick,
volume end?
the first volume ended where I have the manga
We're
right
gonna keep
here.
it no spoilers at all.
Well, yeah, in this half, we'll keep it super light spoilers. But the first volume ended basically where we find out that someone is still alive. Someone is still alive, and where
What? That's where the
and-
first volume ends. That's it.
Yeah, and where basically Yurichiro kind of has his very first encounter with a demon and a cursed weapon.
Does it finish the encounter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it shows so it ended there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, like I said, having watched up to like 7 or 8 episodes of the anime, a lot has happened since then. But
Yeah, especially once you get, I think the end of volume 2, where the first season ends, is where you really start to like kind of start getting the little hints of like, okay, there's more stuff going on behind the scenes that our characters don't know about, and you really start to like see that there's a big plan, and that's why you can tell that it's Wit Studios, because Wit Studios tends to do this with a lot of like, they like to choose shows that have like huge like overarching like secret plots in the background and stuff, and Seraph of the End is absolutely one of those. I think it's such a good series once you get into it, because it really does like shock you like every volume.
how did you feel? Because you're talking a lot about the manga. How did you feel it compared to the anime? Because when we did Vinland Saga with Cameron in our last episode, there was a huge difference in the two, in that they switched everything around. They like took a huge chunk of the story and put it at the beginning, and then saved a lot of stuff that's happened in the beginning of the manga and put it into like episode 5 of the anime. And so I felt like the anime and the manga were pretty similar.
No, they're pretty panel for panel, I would say. The only difference, I preferred the manga. But then again, there's only two seasons of the anime, versus so much more manga. So it is kind of difficult to compare them. But I would say the manga is just a lot more better, just because the art style is just so good, and they did a really good job of putting that into animation on screen. Obviously, you mentioned it like first thing, how good the art looked and everything, which it looks really good. The art style is great. The character designs are really good. I think that's one of the strong suits of the show too.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
iconic.
Yeah,
iconic looking characters.
Very iconic. Lot of good vampires. Lot of It's a very popular show with females, and I'm like, why? And I'm like, oh, Gurren, I get it.
Gurren Ichigo say.
Yeah, Cody, why was your hand raised? What could you possibly have to add? I'm just kidding.
This did like the opposite of what Vinland Saga did.
What do you mean?
Because both of these, they changed how it opens from the manga and the anime.
Yes.
Because in the anime, it opens with them like the stuff happens, and it's like, oh, you foolish humans, you're dying, and then it cuts to them in their like blood slavery palace.
Yeah.
And in the manga, it opens in there, and then you get a flashback.
Yeah.
In
the anime, it happens
they just
more.
refuse to do it in the same order.
I know, right?
That is true.
In the anime, it happens more chronologically, I guess. But yeah, I don't know why they refuse. They refuse to commit to whatever's in the manga. They always have to switch it up.
Yeah. Well, then again, sometimes it also depends just on like runtime. and how much they can fit into a season. You know, sometimes you got to cut stuff. So
I liked how they did it in the anime better than the manga, just because you have more feeling towards the characters, and like the world building is way better because you kind of understand it more. And I liked it way better than just being like, "Hey, we're gonna kill those vampires, right?"
Yeah, because when the manga starts, you're kind of just like confused for a second. But with the anime, it kind of shows you like, okay, here's these like normal human kids, like orphans, and they're being put in this slavery situation with vampires. And so I feel like you can grasp what's the threat of what's going on. Like, you can really get a good grasp on it.
Yeah. Megan, you said iconic characters, dude, and these characters, I love almost all of these characters, but I want you to talk about Gurren. The moment you saw this character, you messaged me and Cody immediately, and we're like, I love this man.
Yeah, dude. Everyone who watches it that I've read like just chats and stuff, and there's like Gurren. There's so many edits of him, like TikTok edits. Everyone fucking loves this man because he is gorgeous. He is awesome.
He's the hottest. He's the hottest man in anime. I'll say it. I'm sorry, Victor. He's the hottest man in anime.
Dude, he just might.
Which one's Gurren?
Gurren is the lieutenant colonel, the one who saves Yurichiro when he first comes out of the vampire world or whatever.
Yeah, he's immaculate, and
he's perfection.
Like, every scene, I'm just like, oh my god, this man! Can you fight vampires for me, please?
And there's a reason to, like, he's such a good, deep, three-dimensional character. Like, he has so many parts to him that make him up. You know, he has equally amount of like bad things as good things. You know what I mean? He's a very human character, which is once you figure out about his backstory and you get more of his past. And they actually are currently the manga author, while still doing monthly Seraph of the End chapters, is also writing a prequel series with Gurren as the main character.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's before the catastrophe happened, before like all this stuff happened and how it came to be. And how Gurren was involved and things like that. Yeah,
you got me wanting to throw my Seraph of the End manga in the trash because I'd rather read about that man all day.
Dude,
now I got a question for you. Why do you think it's called Seraph at the End?
Why do I think? Well, I know why it's called Seraph of the End because they explain it. You haven't gotten there yet. We can talk about it later if you want to do like
we can get into
spoiler
some
section,
spoilery stuff later on.
I can tell you a little bit without spoiling too much, but there's definitely I think by the time you finish volume 2, they start bringing up the name Seraphs, like, and you're like, what are Seraphs? Like, what are they slowly kind of give you little bits and pieces, and then you're like, oh my god, they said Seraph, that's the name of the show. Like, and then you're like, what does that mean? And then over time it kind of, and still at chapter 96, I still don't really understand completely what Seraph of the End completely means, but I kind of have a concept.
Right.
It's nuts. That's all I can say.
Okay. Before we get too much more into the characters that we haven't met yet, because I do want to talk about them. Let's just go through the first volume real quick. So it does open in the manga with them in that palace, very similar to Promised Neverland, right? And you meet his family, and that you get to learn about their situation and how they're all orphans and stuff like that. And I have the characters' names written down here. Mikaela, right? Mikaela is sort of the he's sort of the I don't know. He's sort of the Norman of the group, you know?
Optimist.
Yeah, he's very optimistic. Which in the manga, I thought he was way like depicted of like more of a badass. Then in the anime, they make him this like soft-spoken, kind of gentle boy. But in the manga, he like fucked up Yurichiro the first time he met him in the orphanage. Like
they changed that too. Yeah. Which I don't know. I kind of like it. I feel like it fits their characters very well because they kind of flip-flop as adults. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see Yurichiro kind of, you slowly see him, he's kind of more just like, very optimistic kind of person, whereas when he was a kid, like you saw how negative he was all the time. Yeah. And then with Mikaela, you kind of see his character Wait, obviously we read the first volume, so how much spoilers can we talk about?
Right now,
we'll try to talk about them as they come into the story. And
as they come up, because in the beginning it is very much so the two of them, and you're right. Mikhail's the optimistic one, and Yurichiro's the pessimist.
Okay, then I'll put it this way then. So Yurichiro kind of, it is cool to see Yurichiro kind of flip flop and kind of take Mikhail's kind of view of the world kind of as an inspiration, which I thought was a really cool idea, because it kind of makes sense. Yeah. And then we kind of see their interaction with one of the noble vampires, and real strong pedophile vibes from this guy.
Oh yeah, even worse than Hisoka. Like I was like, what are you doing? You're sucking his blood? Okay.
Yeah, he's like, come over to my mansion later, and we'll have a good time.
We'll keep it at that. We'll keep it at that. But
Farid is such a creep. He's such a like degenerate.
Totally
piece of shit. He's like that one anime character that's never serious. Like he's always just being coy, and like you just can never take him. Like you have to take everything he says with a grain of salt. Too.
Like Hisoka in a lot of ways, right? Yeah. Like that was a cool comparison.
It did seem like a sweet deal that they had though, where it's always like,
right?
Okay,
yeah,
I let him feed on you. Let him feed on you in exchange for like nice gifts and stuff, which again is kind of. But also, it's like, aren't they doing that to you anyway? So
yes and no, because they're not actually allowed to feed like on.
They're not allowed to feed directly from humans.
Yeah, they get like, what do they get? Vials, fucking, I don't know, but they're not. They take it out of their veins instead of like neck.
Okay, is that like an etiquette thing where they're like, don't feed on him directly, that's gross, we all have to feed on that guy?
Maybe it's like I kind of imagine it as like they can't control themselves. Maybe if they start to feed directly from a human, they might drink too much because it feels so good.
I definitely think that's probably the reasoning why, and that's why they farm them essentially and like store their blood and give them out in serving sizes so that vampires don't run out of blood too quickly.
Just like in that movie Daybreak, where it was like a coffee, and people would ask for like, "Oh, you have O negative? I'll take a large O negative."
Yeah. That's kind of how it is.
Yeah, that movie had a lot of cool concepts in it, but it was like I feel like it was very poorly executed. That movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like a guy had a lot of fun ideas, and his friend was rich. He's like, "Oh, I'll make this movie," and he's like, "What? Do we have a writer? No, just every idea you have, let's just throw it in." What if you crashed your vampire car and then you burst into flames and that cured your vampirism?
Yeah, it was. I remember that being such a cool concept at the time. Like, oh wow, I can't wait to see how they pull this off. And like you said, it's just every idea somebody had thrown together into some like shitty movie. But yeah, so we meet this groomer, basically this vampire groomer, and basically he reveals that they have a deal, and Yurichiro gets pissed and goes home to his family, and Mikhail comes back later at night when everybody's asleep, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm not letting this guy diddle me for nothing. Okay, I got Yeah.
It was never diddling involved. I mean, right. He doesn't say it, but he looks like the type. So
yeah,
you could assume.
There's a lot of ways you can use the terminology to make it sound worse. I'm not going to do it because I have roommates, but there's
there's
ways you can spin it to sound worse. Literally the only thing stopping me.
I don't think they'd mind.
I don't think they care. I think you should talk about.
Okay, because he's like, okay, he sucks him dry in exchange for.
He does suck him dry in exchange.
He sucks it all.
He sucks it all.
All of it.
Now I have to clarify things later on.
They were like, Cody, that was a weird Zoom call you were on. What were you doing? But yeah, he sucks him dry for food, basically. And but Mikhail's stealing. He steals a map and a gun, and he's like, "Let's get the fuck out of here!" Right? And
which was
really
surprising.
badass.
I didn't expect him to have like a plan. I thought he was just like, I'll go to his house and he gives me nice stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's teenager stuff.
Yeah, but as far as pacing goes, that is one thing that bothered me. The series overall I enjoyed, but that bothered me. He's like, let's go tonight. It's not like let's give it a day or two. People are asleep. You know, their brothers and sisters have no idea what's going on.
At the same time, though, you got to think about it. This Mikayla had been planning it for a while, though. It wasn't just spontaneous.
Yeah, like the whole point of it makes sense, but like viewing it, like I would have liked like a day of him like collecting things. Like now I got this, now I have this, now I have this, and he's like, "Why are you getting all these things?" And it's like I got a plan.
Yeah, he cocks the gun.
I definitely think I prefer the first like that kind of mini arc, you know, as them as kids. Yeah. In the anime, preferred by than the manga, because I feel like the manga just tries to get as quickly as possible to the main story, whereas they allow the whole first episode to just be that. And did you guys? So you guys all watched the first episode?
Yes.
At least, right? Wasn't it really good? When I watched the anime first, and I watched the first episode, and I was like, "Damn! Like this shit is sad. This is nuts." Just in one episode.
Yeah. Towards the end, I was like, "Oh shit! I didn't think they were gonna go that direction.
Yeah.
Oh, they're still doing it. Oh, okay. This isn't what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, it gets pretty crazy right off the bat. And back to the manga real quick too. Yeah, they did kind of rush through it, but also the first volume is only 3 chapters because the chapters are all so long. And I do feel like this is a manga series where each chapter is actually an episode of the anime.
Exactly. I was going to mention that too. It felt very like it was changed a little bit because you didn't see that whole arc with the kids, but it was like pretty much 3 chapters, 3 first episodes. You could catch up. That's what I really liked about it, because sometimes it gets too much and you're like, 6 episodes in and it's barely the end of this, 4th chapter or whatever. So
or they'll cram multiple chapters into like one episode or something like that. But it seemed like they were paced about the same. But yeah, dude. Yeah. So after that, they go and they're on there. They wake everybody up. They're getting out of there and they go to escape. And that's when what's the Michael Jackson vampire? What's his name?
You talking about Farad?
Yeah, Farad.
Farad. That's a
Michael Jackson.
Farad.
Vaguely pedophilic vampire name.
Farad Bathory.
Bathory. That's good.
Yeah. He kind of
get a vibe off that guy.
Oh, right away, just from the name, dude. But he shows up and basically says that he's been waiting for them this whole time. That he kind of knew that Mikayla was stealing these things, and he was waiting for them to get there.
They used illusion magic. Is that what happened?
What do you mean illusion magic?
It seemed in the anime, it seemed like they were walking down a sewer. And then it's just a mansion with no real transition. I don't know if I missed the transition.
I don't know. They live in a vampire world. Maybe there's a lot of tunnels under there.
I assumed it was illusional magic. I don't know or is this? I'm the only one with that issue.
I don't think it was. It could have been.
Because in the manga, it was the same thing. They're in a sewer, and then we're in a mansion now. So
yeah, it does kind of just cut. It doesn't really show like their journey from the orphanage to the exit. It's just kind of, I guess, assumed that they just followed the map. So
yeah.
Well, you take that up with Yamato Yamamoto, Cody, who is the artist.
He'll be hearing from me real soon.
He will be hearing from me. That is unacceptable.
This is unacceptable. You need to show your characters, and you need to show us the layout of the land.
Yeah.
No time skips.
Was it magic, or did I just miss the part where it was explained?
Or was it magic, or were you just too lazy to draw an extra couple panels?
I'm fine with either one. Yeah.
I'm fine. I love Cody. Just to be clear, I'm not mad. Love Cody.
Yeah, I just want to know.
Sincerely, your friend Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he basically this is the part of the story where he basically this is the moment that makes Yurichiro who he is. It defines him as a character, right? Because all of his family just gets slaughtered easily in front of him. And I don't know how you guys felt.
I thought it was like, oh, he's gonna do a warning and he's gonna like just attack one, like threaten one person, but no, he just
nope.
Yeah, he don't give a fuck. Livestock bitches, literally. Like he went, oh, you're trying to. I'm gonna make sure that you suffer.
Did anyone else think that Akane, the one girl, was gonna be like one of the main characters?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna save her and then they run away.
No, she has brown hair, so that could never work.
Yeah.
What is it? The ponytail of doom?
Yeah, the ponytail of doom. Yeah. Same thing with like moms always have that hairstyle too. Yeah. Like Aaron's mom, like every mom who dies has that fucking side ponytail.
Oh
so
shit!
That is,
you're
accurate.
dead.
Yeah,
How
I
are you
did.
gonna feel like you become a mom and you just one day you notice your hair is in a ponytail on the side? You're like,
When did that happen?
I'm gonna die.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming soon.
It's coming soon.
honey.
I definitely read that first in chapter, and read the watched on the anime when I first watched it, and yeah, that was the biggest shocker. I was like, oh, okay, I know what's going on. Yurichiro's the main character, Makaila's like his best friend sidekick, and then Akane is like the Mikasa,
The girl, the Mikasa, the
Yeah.
Emma, and nope, she gets got. And
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, okay, so it's about these two bros, and they're gonna survive dragon.
yeah, right.
yeah.
Bro
then
time.
you're-
All right, cool.
Bro time.
Yeah, get rid of.
Yeah, I'm like, I
Just
like,
dudes only. Okay.
yeah, I like this story a lot, you know.
Yeah. This just turned into my kind of story.
Hey.
And then you meet Gurren, and you're like, oh, this is for sure my type of story.
Oh, this is my story, 100% invested. Okay.
But yeah, so then everybody gets murdered. Mikaela gets a hand shoved through him and an arm chopped off. And Yurichiro escapes, and that's when he meets Gurren and some of the other members of their group. And they basically tell him that humanity is not all dead, that there's a small percentage of people that have survived, and that they're like building these forces to take down the vampires or whatever.
I also want to go back to that because they're like, oh, the prophecy told us you'd be here. Where's the prophecy? Do they ever mention that again?
It's funny because that's the one thing that they throw that into like the very beginning, and he's like the way the prophecy foretold, and then everyone just like, oh yeah, we'll learn about it later, and then they just forget about it.
What the fuck?
No.
That's
the
crazy.
writer did not forget about it, but the audience, you forget about it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like-
Okay.
I was
No,
like,
no,
they
no.
just don't bring it up again.
No.
That's I only read the first volume, and I only saw like 2 episodes. And I already forgot that they mentioned that was a prophecy.
Yeah. See, they sneak it in there so small, because then you start getting into the series, and you start like getting to know other characters and things like that, and you completely forget about it. And then once you get way down the line, you start realizing, oh shit, they did talk about a prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
they breadcrumb a lot of things too. There's another thing that happens later that they breadcrumb when he does get his first cursed weapon. The demon says something to him that we'll talk about later, but there's a moment where something is said and you're like, okay, all right. I don't know what that means, but I hope it has something to do with the prophecy or something. But anyway, then he gets then this is kind of not confusing, but what happens is they like it cuts to 4 years later, and now he's on patrol.
and
right.
he's in high school.
Yeah, and he's in high school.
The high school part I also
What
did
the
not see coming.
fuck?
That was the
'Cause I was
biggest.
like,
That's the biggest joke among like Seraph of the End fans and people that have watched it, because they're just like, oh shit, like crazy, super gory, like realistic vampire fighting dynamic going on, and then oh wait, we're in high school. What?
Yeah.
What happened? How did we get from this really cool apocalyptic like fighting anime, and then all of a sudden now we're just in high school and
even
high school tropes.
uniforms.
Even Yu's like, why the fuck am I in school?
Yeah.
He like
Why am
says
I-
it 7 times. He's like, what the fuck? Take me out of school. I'm like, hell
Yeah.
yeah. Go to the military. Like, what? Like, you, what?
There's like bullies.
Exactly.
Shouldn't
Exactly.
the end of the world vampires like make you more focused on at least that? But there's people who are like, nerd. Those people survive the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know not everybody's a fighter, but I think there are some more important priorities we should be focusing on right now instead of like bullying basically the Armin of the group. You know what I mean?
It is the armor.
Yeah, it's like
You're talking about
yeah,
Yuichi.
Yurichiro, right?
Yuichi.
Yuichi.
did you see that movie A Beautiful Mind?
I feel like I did, but I don't remember.
It's about this smart guy with schizophrenia, and they don't depict it accurately. But like
I
he goes
know
to
what you're talking about.
Princeton. He goes to Princeton, and like a huge jock guy like knocks his book over, and like his girlfriend laughs and they giggle, and it's like, you're in Princeton. But there's a dumb jock character.
yeah, there's a dumb
He's like,
joke.
beat it, nerd.
He got there
Yeah,
on a football scholarship, Cody. All right.
Yeah, but he's still like, we'll get nerd, and anyway, we gotta go to molecular biology class. Let's get out of here, babe.
Let's get out of here, babe. Yeah, that part was pretty funny, and that's where we meet. I have her name.
His supervisor.
Yeah, his
Shinoa.
supervisor, basically Shinoa.
Hiraki.
Shinoa. She's
Now,
fucking
Megan,
awesome.
This is another character that you fuck with hard, right?
Oh yeah, she's awesome. She's voices so many fucking characters. Her voice actress, what's her name? Sayori Hayami?
Yeah. And you watch, this is the dub or the sub?
The sub. Did you guys watch the
sub.
dub?
I watched the dub.
Yeah.
Dub, everyone dub?
Kiernan, did you watch
I've
dub or
seen
sub?
both.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Do you prefer one or the other?
The dub's really good. I feel like I like the dub voices like a lot better. Maybe
Yeah, it's not bad.
I'm not necessarily the acting is bad or either one. They're both good, but I guess I just prefer. I see the characters more as the dub actor with their voices.
Right.
It sounds more natural to me. I guess for some reason.
Megan, who else does she voice? The Japanese
Yeah, let
voice
me
actress.
look up. I forgot her name. It's from Demon Slayer. I think you like her a lot. She has the
Tanjiro.
butterfly, the older sister.
Oh, the older sister.
The older sister with the butterfly.
Yeah.
Shit. She voices her in the sub, and she voices so many different anime characters. So when I heard her voice, I was like, "Huh, she sounds so familiar." And I looked it up, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's my girl right there. She's awesome."
Yeah, she kind of steals the show when she's introduced. She kind of becomes, I think, like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel, Kiernan, but I feel like she became the character that, you know, she's kind of a goofball a little bit, but a powerful goofball. But she's also
she's definitely one of the most she's one of the best characters. I would say she's one of my favorite ones to watch. Plus, once you find out more about her, she's we'll talk about it later. But she's a good character.
Yeah, the thing is, like, everybody, because you have to assume that this is like a post-apocalyptic world where this virus killed everybody, and these vampires came and invaded. That, like, everybody's going to have a traumatic backstory. And you kind of slowly get those from everybody, and you kind of see what everybody's is.
It is nice to see. You kind of can see these people like meeting, and they've all been through similar. They've all been through the apocalypse. They kind of bond together.
Yeah,
and like bond over that, and it's very like wholesome to see.
Yeah.
Now, like I liked the reveal that, like, oh no, the apocalypse didn't, like, when they're like, oh no, the vampires just lied to you. I was like, oh, so maybe they just kidnapped like 10 kids, and they're like, we killed everyone. There's no humans left. You're it. And it's like, oh no,
the
that
world's
was
fine.
just like there was like a terrorist attack. Was that?
It reminded me of like Fallout, not to like bring up Fallout, but it reminded me of Fallout, where like they're in the vault and then they go out and they're like, oh, there's people living. Yeah. Oh, they're like actually like fucking being humans and surviving. Cool.
In the manga,
we got airships and shit. No, it's fine.
In the manga, they make it seem like, in the anime, they make it seem like it's the more of the vampires doing. But in the manga, they kind of make it seem like the humans accidentally created this virus.
No, they did. That's what that's what happened. That's what they say at the beginning. The vampires just kind of they kind of use it to their advantage to kind of finish off the humans. It was the vampires did not take over. That's why they're not on the land. They're still underground. They did not take over.
Okay, so did they actually just kidnap a couple of kids?
No. There wasn't an apocalypse that killed.
There's like a functioning high school with like vending machines and shit that like they get juice from.
No, I will tell you that every human being over the age of 13 was killed.
Oh. Okay, but it was like a one-off. After that, once you turn 13, you don't just die.
Correct.
Okay, what about Gurren then?
Yeah, what about Gurren?
Maybe it's 14 or something like that.
But still,
Gurren was under the age when it happened.
And what about? I don't. Again, we're getting closer.
Gurren's only like early 20s. I'm pretty sure.
We're getting closer to where we can talk about more spoilery stuff. But what about when you meet that council, the guy who has the eye patch thing over? It's not an eye patch. It's like this metal piece of shrapnel over his eye.
Oh, the Hiragi family.
Yeah, he's old as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the virus just didn't get to him.
It's all explained. So
He's got the antibodies. He's got the antibodies for that.
Oh, he was under 13.
No.
Then like he just ages terribly.
No, he's just built different. That's why.
Oh, he's built different. Okay, all right, I like that. And then so basically we're at the point in the story now where you meet Shinoa, and she's kind of babysitting him and telling him that he needs to make a friend.
And that
if
shit.
He wants to,
yeah.
If he wants to pass the becoming a vampire hunter exam, he has to make friends.
Yes.
I like it though, because they're talking about camaraderie.
Teamwork.
You can't.
Yeah,
teamwork.
no, I get it. It's nice, like post-apocalypse, like they still thought like, well, they should still be sociable. We want it's like No Child Left Behind, but they're still like, we gotta make sure they're socially adapted.
Yeah,
friends.
and Shinoa's
we're
like,
gonna send someone to make sure they make friends.
Y'all gotta fuck too. Like you better. She's like, y'all keep fucking, because if you stop fucking, we're over. And he's just like, okay. She's just obsessed with like non-virgins and shit. Very funny.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I imagine. I imagine that it'd be a pretty dark future if Cody was in that situation. I don't know how fast
Make
he's
friends,
repopulating.
get laid.
Make friends.
And Josh would have been dead for the past 20 years after the virus hit. So.
Oh, because I'm old.
Yeah.
Because I'm old.
Yeah.
And I would be living, and I'd be like, because I'd be a fucking vampire.
Megan wasn't even born yet. Yeah. Megan's the.
Megan's the vampire of the group.
Oh yeah. I'm fucking. What's her name? I'm the leader.
Oh yeah. The pink hair girl.
Yeah,
I forget her name.
Love her.
But yeah, then basically to kind of speed through the rest of it, because I do want to talk more spoilery stuff. They meet Yoichi, and he's kind of this timid guy. He's the one getting bullied, and then a vampire basically breaks out of this lab and starts, killing people at the school.
Vampire things.
Yeah,
because they were
shit.
experimenting, they were vivisecting a vampire like either at or right next to a high school in a post-apocalypse.
Maybe instead of just dissecting frogs, they dissect vampires in class.
And they even said, like, why would a vampire be here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how they say things that don't make sense, so that you're like, that is true. Why?
That's a good point, character and story. Why is this weird story thing happening?
That's what's so interesting, cool about the show too, is because the main characters aren't necessarily naive. They're like, this is kind of doesn't make any sense. Am I wrong? And they're like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense at all. All right, well, I guess I have to accept it.
Cool.
And
So that's
later,
that's either like, okay, the writers just being like, take it happened, or it's hinting at a more complicated thing.
definitely more complicated thing.
That's good. I'm glad at
for
that
sure.
better. Than
Yeah,
just
I'm
like,
glad it's
here,
that.
we're going to do
They
this
just-
and then say
They just have no clue. They just have no clue.
A vampire got loose, and now wait, but they're already at the school.
Well, that's
I
what
thought they were gonna have to go find them, but no, it was just like at the school already.
Yeah.
They're already there. It came to them.
Yeah. That's called delivery, not DiGiorno. You know what I mean? and so basically, they get in a huge fight, and Yurichiro. He basically.
It's worth mentioning that the vampire is a small child,
Well, she's
a classic 3,000-year-old child.
Yeah,
she's a
classic.
vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lolly vampires. Those are the best ones.
There's a lot of them in here.
Shit.
There are a lot of lolly
Are
vampires.
there?
And just general
Okay.
lollies in this show.
Yeah.
Is that like a trick that they go for, where they're like, let's specifically get little girl vampires because no one will suspect them?
Well, I mean, it just depends on when they are.
Skyrim did that.
Yeah, I mean that could be it. It could also just be. I mean, vampires just don't age.
Yeah, they could also be like, people are gonna buy this
But
manga.
I
if
think
they
I
see
like
a cute
Cody's
ass-
idea better.
If they see a fucking cute ass vampire on it, they're gonna buy this shit. You know?
Yeah. Cruel is like ultimate. Like, vampire
Cruel.
lordess? Awesome.
She's a lolly, but she's 3,000 years old, so it's okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
I
all
can be a
right.
lolicon. Let's go.
That's the loophole.
It was weird how the characters went on a rant with each other about how like she is technically of age. I thought that was a little unnecessary for the plot.
Well, because they just want to make sure the readers need to know. Very important.
Yeah, the readers need to know.
I can't stand Cruel if I don't know if she's legal or not.
Yeah, it's gonna drive me crazy, dude. It's gonna drive me crazy. But yeah, they get in this huge fight, and Yoichi kind of steps up and saves this girl from getting her blood drained.
Straight up baller move. He was just like, I have no weapons on me. Let's see if I can tackle this fucking vampire who has heightened senses and is just not paying attention right now. What?
Yeah, but like I said, dude, he's definitely the Armin of the group, dude, because he's always like complaining and crying about everything.
He's such an Armin.
Don't
He's
talk
like
shit about my
more-
baby Armin.
Oh, you just watched? Did you finally see all of Attack on Titan?
Finished. Yeah.
Up to season 3?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's fucking
shit.
sweet. It's so
I watched
sweet.
some of the last season because I want to know where Megan was at, like in the story.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, you just wait. They hadn't even gotten to the brutal stuff yet.
Oh
Nope,
my
I am aware.
god.
I'm aware of what the
Everything
next
you've
two
seen so
arcs of the next two arcs like are.
Dude.
Or the
Yeah,
final two
it's-
arcs.
Some stuff legitimately disgusted me with what I was seeing.
Oh my god,
damn.
dude. I can't fucking wait.
It's gonna be so bad.
yeah.
So many people are gonna die. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's move on.
Yeah, anyway, so moving on, they end up defeating they end up like crashing out of a window, and you kind of impales her, but then of course Gurren comes to the rescue, and Yu's whole thing is like he's doing all this and he's acting this way, like his character reasoning, the reasoning that he does all of this is because he's like, I'm not gonna be trapped in this school anymore. I'm not gonna fucking do this bullshit. I'm gonna prove that I'm ready to be on the front line. Basically, that's why that's his motivation for like just jumping at the at any opportunity to risk his life or whatever. And so then he basically makes a deal with Gurren. He's like, look, dude, I did it, man. I did it. Like, just let me have something. Like, let me train with you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, you're gonna have to. You can train with us now, but you're still gonna have to stay in school. And he gets mad about that, and that's when we have this like interaction between him and Shinoa on the roof, and she shows him her cursed weapon, right?
The first cursed weapon. I guess you kind of saw Gurren's, but you really got to see hers.
Yeah, you really got to see hers, and that's another thing about this show that I really like is just and that goes back to like anime openings giving everything away. In the opening of the anime, they show all of the characters with their cursed weapons immediately. And
Yeah.
That's why I have to skip the opening when I watch it with other people, because it just shows you about like what happens to Mikaela.
Or like
And
I
fucking-
don't
that too.
watch an OP until I'm like halfway through the series. Even then,
Yeah.
I'll turn around and like listen to the song and be like, oh, this song bumps, but I won't watch the opening because it gives away everything.
You cannot watch the opening.
No.
Yeah. It gave, specifically in this show, it gives away a lot. I mean, it definitely sold me on it, like the action parts. But then there's that one thing.
In the grand scheme of things, the first opening really doesn't spoil that much. It really only just spoils like the concept of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it takes a couple episodes for you to kind of get, so they're vampire hunters and they're using cursed weapons with demons to fight vampire. Like, that's kind of what the show is based around. You don't really, it takes a couple episodes to get that. So
yeah, and then we finally get that, similar to Chainsaw Man. They have to contract with a demon, and then of course Yu is like obsessed with getting this weapon, and then the bullies.
Because cursed weapons are the only things that can hurt a vampire, right?
Correct.
Kill them.
That's the only thing that can kill them.
Yeah. And then, and then the bullies come back and they're like, "Hey, one of our, dumbass friends went to this like forbidden chamber in Hogwarts or wherever they're at." And
It feels like Hogwarts.
it does feel like Hogwarts at times. And you got to go rescue him. He's probably possessed by a demon or whatever, but help him, please. And then they go help him. And
I love how you capture the essence of a character.
yeah. That's my job, Cody. And they go to rescue this kid, but Yu goes because he's wants a cursed weapon. Like he's convinced that if he goes, he can get a cursed weapon. He can contract a demon, right? And so we're getting towards the end of the first manga. I want to just kind of again speed through it because I want to get to some more spoilery stuff. But I feel like there's so much stuff we can't talk about until we get there. But the demon basically puts him in a typical, we've seen it a million times, sort of hallucination of his worst memory of his family, getting slaughtered in front of him, and then they all talk to him and they're like, "You killed us, you abandoned us, you're a," I think they call him a bitch at one point. And
that's good. I like that. I like that they would get petty like that with the demon. I'm gonna expose to you your worst fear is your best friend calling you a bitch. And you're like, no.
He's like, "Oh my god, Mikaela would never say that." And then he breaks free of this hallucination, but he doesn't get the power of the demon, or he doesn't get the contract because there wasn't this like ceremony that is supposed to happen. And
you have to. I'm pretty sure you have to be like to really like fully use like a demonic weapon, you have to be kind of like chosen by the demon.
Yes.
It's not really like you can't really like choose the demon. You have to fight the demon and get it to respect you.
Yeah. And I think that brings us to the end of volume 1. But at the very, very, very end, the last couple pages, once he's awoken from this hallucination, it cuts to the vampire world again, which we haven't seen since the very beginning of the manga. And
which, as far as I know, is just a mansion with like a couple of houses for orphans.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where we see Mikaela. And Mikaela, we find out that Mikaela's alive. And
that would have been a spoiler, Mark.
And well, I mean, this is at the end of volume 1. And
yes, it's at the end.
Oh yeah. But we've been gearing up to it. We've been gearing up to it. And you see in that panel, you see little vampire teeth on him too. And so
That's some great spoilers.
So, and that's the end. That's where volume 1 ends.
That's where volume 1 ends. But I do want to talk more about kind of what happened. So I think now, if you've heard too much, I'm sorry, but this is the end of volume 1. So if this was enough to pique your interest, then definitely go check out Seraph.
Definitely. Even the spoilers that we have said so far, not that big a deal. Like the
Tip of
fact
the
that
iceberg.
Mika's not actually dead is like he's like one of the main characters. He's like the other protagonist. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of super important. So
yeah.
Which I like the idea that the edgy one with dark powers is the one with blonde hair, because usually it never goes that way. It's always the dark-haired guy.
Yeah, this show is breaking stereotypes. The guy with the glasses, the Psyche K of the group, is he's a badass
boy.
Oh, bro, I love him so much.
Yeah,
Such a good character.
I thought it was brave of them to have like the main character and then like the meek guy that he meets in high school. They kind of just look the same.
Yeah,
Like,
they do,
they don't
especially in the manga.
a lot of light.
They don't have wildly different hairstyles. They have the same hair color. It's like they're not even like, oh, that guy's got the glasses. No, it's you just gotta pay attention, man.
Well, there is an easy way to tell the difference between them later is when they get their weapons, because they all have unique weapons.
Right.
Oh, and he gets like a fang cape, and it like
Yeah, exactly.
forms like an X.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cody, I thought you
That's
didn't.
what
I thought you didn't read past volume 1. You seem to know everything.
Actually, I've read all of it.
Okay, so
Guilty.
I got to the Seraph at the end.
let's get into some spoiler stuff. So I think since we're going to talk about what's past volume 1, that means that we need some sort of sound to indicate that this is spoiler territory.
Are we going to talk about spoilers?
I think so.
It's spoiler time.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so Kiernan, you're caught up, like you said, like on the most recent chapter of the manga.
Yes. Yep. Up to I think it's 96, 97 comes out on 3rd of December.
And I read too that there's that they are developing season 3 of the anime, or there's a plan to release season 3.
I haven't seen anything. I don't know how recent that article was or whatever you read that. I hope so, because it's really good, but Wit Studios lost a lot of money on it, so someone would have to do some investment on it to get them to do it again, or get a whole new studio to try and pick it up. It is a very popular shonen series, but it just got overshadowed by, I think Attack on Titan came out that year, and either Fate Stay Night or Fate Zero, one of the two. One of the biggest Fate series were also airing at the time. So it was just completely just overshadowed. It was a new IP that like no one had heard about. So like, of course, like Fate and Attack on Titan are like what everyone talked about, and it lost a lot of money.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of interest in it though, and I hope they do know that, and I hope they try to make it, even if it's like a shorter series or something.
Yeah. And I hope they like just even doing stuff like this, like we're playing our part, like trying to get more people to know about it, more people to read it.
Oh yeah, I
'Cause
mean
the
we are
manga-
heroes.
Yeah, we are the heroes. We're gonna bring it back. With this episode alone,
Yeah.
we're gonna bring the anime back.
Oh yeah, dude. The investors and all the suits, they're the vampires.
They
They're like,
And-
Volume 1 did it? Oh, okay. We gotta get on it right now.
Yeah.
Volume 1 did a review. Oh shit, dude, we gotta get on
Fuck,
this.
we're
Why-
late.
Everyone's gonna be talking about it
Yeah,
now.
we're already behind. Let's go.
Go.
Should have started 3 months ago. Let's get on this.
So since Kiernan's like pretty caught up, and I know me and Megan probably have a lot of questions, but do you guys have any questions about anything that happened yet, or that might happen, or anything you want to ask him?
Okay, because I was gonna ask, so like, is that a separate race, or you can become a vampire, and you can become a vampire? Now I know that.
Yeah.
So from my understanding, every vampire that you've seen, Ferret is the only one that I'm not sure about his lineage, but it seems that a lot of vampires were human ones.
Oh,
So
okay.
it still is kind of a question where the first vampire came from, because the first vampire is very important to the story. It's so funny because you guys have already like witnessed the presence of the first vampire and you don't even know yet.
Oh.
You've already
my
seen
It's
it.
the
God.
girl. It's the girl that made him curry.
Cruel?
And it's-
Yeah.
It's
no,
Cruel? Oh,
Cruel, no. She's a third progenitor. Meaning that she's like, yeah.
Progenitor.
Oh yeah, you don't even know what progenitors
I
are.
like big words.
But
In
yeah.
my experience with vampire stories, the first vampire is either a demon or Cain from the Bible. That's usually where it goes.
How many?
I don't know.
Lucifer
We really don't.
himself?
Yeah, we don't really have an explanation yet. All we know is that the first vampire is almost on a godlike level, and is it depends on just how much spoiler you want me to go into.
Well, I do want to. I mean, because this is
That's
a series.
that's like a really big topic that is kind of still being uncovered. So it would be like big spoilers to try and explain my theories on how the vampires came from.
Because this is a series that I do want to continue watching and reading.
I would really recommend it.
Especially, I mean, having seen episode 7, I think I'm up to the point now where they went through the whole process of getting their cursed weapons. They have their cursed weapons now.
So you met Asamaru,
Asamaru is the
demon that you
yes,
talked to.
Yes.
One of the best characters.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So like, I want to. So the
Another lolly.
supervisor- She has
No.
she has a scythe.
Asamaru is a guy, by the way.
Oh shit.
Yes. Never
Man.
says that. Never says it's a. It never says she. And you always refer. If you listen closely, you refers to him as a he or a him.
Oh, wow. It
Which
looks
one's
like a
awesome?
girl.
Yeah, it does. What?
A bunch of
It's
another
a guy.
fine ass dude to add to the list.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I wanted to ask you about when they meet for the first time and they're making their contract. She says, "Well, since you're going to be my master, they're." He. You're right. And I'm
Okay,
sorry,
so the
I misgendered the
supervisor
demon.
is a guy. Is that, or the demon's a guy? What,
the
The
demon.
what's
The demon's a guy.
Okay, it just looks like a cute girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, if there's anybody that you are going to misgender, a demon is probably the one that it's fine. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
Yeah.
a demon has to not deserve like courtesy.
Exactly.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Exactly.
don't
They
don't
expect
deserve
it.
any respect.
They don't give it, so.
Yeah, isn't disrespecting a demon a good thing?
Exactly.
Right?
And that's what I was trying to do, really, is all. I was trying to stick it to the demon. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
a
yeah,
very
yeah.
Christian thing.
But yeah, he says, since you're going to be my master, there's something you should know, that you're not entirely.
I'm a guy.
I am a
Oh,
male.
wait, I don't want you anymore. Give me another one.
You didn't tell me this was part of the contract.
Yeah, we have to be intimate in order for me to give you my power, and that's how that works. No, he says you are not entirely human, that you have something else.
Yeah, so that's why I had recommended that you got that you try. Obviously, it's such a short time, but you really need to read the second volume, or at least finish the first season, to really get the scope of what's going on in the show. Because I'm gonna be real with you, after the first volume, they never go back to high school again. Completely
Oh,
irrelevant.
Good.
shit.
No.
Yeah, good.
No,
Do they
never again.
justify the high school's existence more?
Yeah,
Or
they
is
do.
that-
I can tell you that's explained pretty early on. The high school is just a front for essentially the Black Demon Army's like order of like experimentation and operations.
So like real high school.
Yeah. So like real high school.
Yeah.
It's just it's very similar to it's actually kind of very similar to Attack on Titan, but not necessarily they lie to the people, but they do just try to make life seem normal in the walls.
Gotcha.
The Demon Army does to just keep like spirits high. So that's why they have high schools and things like that. But it's all everything, even all of like the public stuff that all the citizens use is still all like secretly used for something. Obviously, because they had a fucking vampire locked away in the school. Like they're doing
Right.
tests on vampires and stuff without telling anybody.
Right.
I would say that the best thing that the show or that the series is good at is by defying your expectations about characters. Every character you could start off hating them and thinking, oh, this is like this is gonna be one of the biggest villains of the show, and then all of a sudden by 20 chapters later you're like, it's like holy shit, like it's like now this person is like an ally, like everyone flips.
Wow.
Everyone has reasons for doing what they do. Like every character that's not like of the main group of kids has some involvement in some way with everything, and the story, the lore just goes so deep that you just never expect that from where you are. They're in high school and like it's all kind of like there's a lot of gags going on. Like you're not expecting it to get like into like such a deep and fucked up like convoluted story. It is.
Yeah, it
Now-
seems like that.
Okay, so there's demons and vampires. Are there werewolves in here? Or
No,
is
but
that-
there are seraphs.
Okay, so
Okay,
what?
now,
Yeah, what
I'm-
are Seraph?
A seraph is an angel? Is that?
Yes, seraphs are angels. Now
Because
necessarily.
seraphim.
Okay, so here's the
Seraphim
thing.
is an
You
angel.
need to like dispel your idea of what you think like angels and demons are. They're not. There's no relation to like. There's no Christianity, no God, no nothing like that. This is its own interpretation of. They just use the word demons and angels and things like that. So I don't really necessarily know where the angels come from yet. All I know
They
is
come from the goodness in all of our hearts, obviously.
Yeah, and,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
Gurren is
Oh.
my angel.
And Gurren is my angel too, man. I love that dude.
Gurren is
Gurren is king.
Gurren is my
he's
king.
such a good character. He's also the most emotionally fucked up character.
I
Yeah,
can
there's
sense
another-
that.
Of course, that's
Megan-
how you get the fangirls.
That's my
Meg-
brand.
Exactly. You make,
Megan, I don't know
make
if
a
you.
troubled, edgy Gurren.
Yeah, he has to be-
No one understands him, but you might.
I will. I'll,
Yeah, he
I'll
has to be
change him.
edgy.
I'll be the one who changes him.
Yeah, I don't know if you got to the part, Megan, where he's having that meeting with a bunch of the other colonels or lieutenants or whatever.
Oh yeah, I
And
was
he-
laughing my ass off. He was just like, "Is this shit over?"
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
kind of the Yurichiro of that group,
So
dude. I
that
thought
is-
that was a flashback. I thought that was a flashback because his hair was slicked back and he looked a little different. And he's being an asshole. He's calling everybody idiots and losers. And
Yeah. Yeah,
and
those are the leaders of the entire fucking army.
Yeah, and then
That-
he walks outside, and Yurichiro comes in and kicks him in the face or whatever. I'm like, oh my god, he's like that now. That's him now. I thought that was like him at the beginning of all this shit.
No, that's just how he is. He just doesn't give a fuck.
He really does not give any fucks, and
Yeah.
he is very. Him and you are very similar in that sense.
Yes.
I'm
glad you picked up on that.
Yeah.
I like him more though. I like Gurren a little bit more. You right now for me is. He's just that kind of protagonist that's like, I don't give a
He
fuck
is.
about anyone else, which you
Yeah.
get like why he's doing it because they have to be like friendship, teamwork, huh? But it's
Yeah.
just like it's too much. Like, bro, focus.
Yeah.
I get that you're strong and shit, but like, come on.
It definitely changes, and I think that's what they do good because they portray you, and he does have very shonen protagonist vibes, but he definitely is not powerful just because of like his drive does not make him powerful. Other situations is what makes him the main character and why he's so special. It's nothing that he has done, and I have just found out recently that this Yu's story and him even getting to where he is now has all been planned out.
Prophecy.
Now,
Yeah.
Prophecy.
with him being special, I have to assume that would maybe mean he's like half vampire. Is that?
No, he's actually not. Actually,
Okay, cool. All right, good.
I
As long as
can
it's not
tell you
that.
I can tell you that because that's actually one of the main parts
don't
of
wanna
the
know?
show.
Don't tell me what he is, but I just wanted to know if he was half vampire.
Okay.
If he was half vampire, I'd be like, I don't care. But like, as long as it's not that.
He's not half vampire for sure. He's not
He's
half
half werewolf.
anything really. He's
Oh,
it's hard to describe, but he's definitely not human. for
Okay.
sure.
I like that. I like
He's
that a lot.
definitely not human, and what he is still, I don't know because I thought I did, and then they just did a super huge reveal, and you're just like, oh, okay. Well, all of my ideas make no sense now, and I completely don't understand what you is anymore. Also, I'm not gonna. I don't want to get into definitely don't want to get into you and Mika and their history and why they're so special. There's definitely a reason. I don't fully understand the explanation yet, but it's called Seraph of the End for a reason. But you find out in the next volume, I'm pretty sure, what Seraphs are.
Well,
you get
'cause
introduced to Seraph.
At the point in the anime that I'm at, I have to imagine it's I've gotten through volume 2 as far as the anime goes, but they do start mentioning Seraphs, but casually mentioning Seraphs.
Yeah.
And
all the vampires, they know what Seraphs are because they've seen them.
yeah, and the vampires declare basically war on
The humans.
the specifically this group
The
of
demon army.
humans. Yeah, the demon army.
army.
Yeah. And they're getting their planes ready and they're getting everything ready, and then we see
Yeah, I thought that was so cool how they use modern technology when because everyone the demon army and them, they don't have any of that.
Hell yeah, they came out with the helicopters, fucking missiles. They were like, oh, we're vampires,
came
but we can also start war like humans. Brah,
Yeah.
brah, brah.
Yeah, when they said war, I was like, okay, they're gonna go have some one-on-one fights, some tournament fights. No, they pulled up with the missiles, bro. They pulled up with the the rocket launchers and the fucking
with the A-bombs and
the
shit.
choppers.
did they at least make him blood missiles? Did they do that?
They wouldn't waste
They're
blood
going
like that.
nuclear, bro.
Just
Wouldn't
missiles.
waste blood
Just
like that.
Yeah, why would
Just
they waste
our-
blood, dude? Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
It-
Oh, so
definitely
they've
say-
got steak guns? Nope, just assault rifles.
yeah, just real assault rifles, dude. They're not playing around.
One of the coolest parts of the show, especially the beginning, I don't think you've gotten there yet, but it's when you and Mika finally do see each other again.
I just ended. Yeah, that was the last episode I watched.
Oh, really? How can you stop there?
I was just watching it. I was
there?
just watching it. So when we stop, I'm gonna
Bro.
start that shit. But yeah, that shit is pretty emotional, and
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm curious because, is Mika? How do you pronounce his name?
Mikaela.
Mikaela. Is he stronger than the most vampires because he's getting blood from?
The queen, right? She's
vampire?
she's a queen.
He's pretty strong. She's the third progenitor.
Okay.
Which that's really high up on the ranking list.
Yeah,
Let's
because
just say that the first progenitor is the first vampire. That no one knows where he is anymore.
oh, so she's the
So
third
she's-
down.
Yeah.
Got it.
Farad, I think, is a 7th progenitor.
Yeah, fuck that fool, man.
And Crowley is a 13th progenitor.
Crowley's the
Kind
one
of.
with the red hair.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Crowley.
he fine too.
No, Crowley, I would say I think Crowley out of all the characters, besides Gurren, is my favorite character. He's such a good character. You don't expect it because he get introduced as just another vampire villain, but then you start figuring out more about him. His backstory is so badass.
Yes.
You find out that I'll spoil this because it's really not that important to the story. It's just his background. It's just one thing, but he used to be a crusader.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Like a-
that's
like-
always good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always good. You always want to hang out with someone that was a crusader leader.
I'm not
Definitely a
even.
great
There's
guy.
there's a vampire game where one of the characters, they were a crusader in the holy wars as a vampire.
Wow.
Oh, he wasn't a vampire.
I genuinely like that kind of. If anytime a vampire is revealed to be a crusader, I'm a sucker for that happening.
there you
Oh,
go.
yeah, it's so sick. Being a crusader,
also-
raping and pillaging. Yeah, that's so dope.
Yeah.
Well, not the real thing they did, the thing they pretended.
Yeah, the Vikings,
Yeah.
the Vikings, knights.
Exactly,
Back on this
exactly.
topic. Yeah.
Not like how the Crusaders sort of just raided their own town because they couldn't get into enemy territory, and then they just sort of wandered off. Not that part. The thing where they fought demons.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
cool part, the
The
fighting.
cool part.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
stabbing.
The imaginary part.
Cody can separate the art from the artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The real from the reality.
Yeah.
I do want to point out one thing that you guys probably missed. So you noticed the name of like the family that runs the demon army, right?
Yeah.
The Haragis.
Yes. Which is.
Did you notice what?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Did you notice what Shino's last name was?
Yeah, she's the daughter.
Hikage.
Yeah.
They do mention that. They do mention that in the classroom, and he's just like, "Oh, you're the daughter," and he's all pissed at her, and she's all like smiling. She's like, "I'm cute." I like that part.
Gurren is the one who says that. He says like, but you're pretty strong, but I guess I should expect that from the daughter of so and so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah. And all these characters and all their cursed weapons and everything, like when we get to see what's Saiki K's name again? Kimizuki, is that his name?
Does he end up getting like the strongest demon power of the bunch?
Not really, but he does get the class of weapon that Gurren has. He gets that
sword.
The Black Demon Army. The Black Demon series.
The Black Demon series, which is like the elite sort of weaponry.
He actually gets 2 like short swords that are connected by a chain. That's what he gets.
Yeah, that's very
cool.
Attack on Titan to me too, because he kind of looks like he's always like using the gear to repel himself.
Yeah, I
It's
saw a
like
picture of
spinning
Levi and Aaron in like the uniforms that the Moon Dream team.
Moon Dream Team.
The Demon Moon.
Yeah, Demon Moon,
Slayers.
whatever. They were in the uniforms, and I was like, "Oh my god, it was awesome."
Yeah, that's tight. You gotta send me that.
Yeah.
That shit sounds cool.
So I want to know what powers the main characters get. Like, what is? Because the supervisor, she has a scythe that like can launch a demon at you.
I mean, that's kind of like what they all do, but they're
all just really powerful weapons, but definitely that's actually not inherently true because you learn a lot more about the demons, and a big question of the series is like that you really don't know what the demons are, because if you notice, what did the demon look like to you?
A
shadow.
vampire.
vampire.
So yeah, it's not. I'm not saying they are vampires for certain, but that's definitely the question. Like they want you to be like asking those like, all the demons look like weirdly similar to vampires. Like, what are they really? And like the kids are just accepting this as like, I definitely don't, just because Gurren and them like or whoever tells the kids something in some way, definitely take it with a grain of salt because they're fed a lot of lies. Not necessarily, some of them are to protect them as well. I'm not saying Gurren's a bad character or a bad person, but Gurren definitely is kind of, he definitely has a hidden agenda.
Okay.
I'll say that.
I kind of want to know really quick before we move on to the final thoughts section. Kind of Cody and Megan, where you guys are at, because you guys are at different parts in the story. How do you guys feel about it, and is it something that you're going to continue to read or watch or both, or which one are you going to do? And how did you feel about it from what you've read so far?
I got to the high school part, and then they're like, okay, now we're gonna get our own weapons, and I was not gonna finish it until I've heard all of this stuff. Now I'm actually more invested in the story.
Exactly. See,
because until then I was like, I don't need high school bullies and vampire demons.
Yeah.
I think they just lied to me about what happened. Now that I know that's like on purpose, it's a lot more interesting of a story.
Definitely. I was super not underwhelmed, but just the story so far before the whole reveal when he's meeting Mikola and whatever, I was like, I don't know how I felt about it, but now that I know that there's some other stuff that's gonna happen, it's not just so level, same level, I'm pretty excited to finish it.
Nah, the first two seasons, nothing.
Well,
Nothing
yeah,
compared to what the show's about.
my experience with it so far was I don't think I've ever done this. Maybe I have, but I kind of consumed it backwards than how I usually do. I watched the anime because it was so beautiful. I couldn't help but watch the anime first, and I got hooked, and I watched like 7 episodes, and then I went back and I read the manga, volume 1 of the manga, which is not how I usually do it. And doing it that way made me realize how much of a drag the beginning of the story kind of is. That whole high school arc, because where it gets to by even episode 7 where I'm at, it becomes a completely different story. The world does get like richer, I guess, like story wise, character,
Yeah.
the mythology starts to grow. It starts to become a completely different and more interesting story. And so going back and reading volume 1 after seeing what I saw in the anime was kind of hard. It was kind of hard to get through because it's like, damn, this isn't a good representation of what the show becomes. And so I think
I would agree.
Yeah, I think knowing what I know from what I've seen on top of what you've told me, I'm gonna finish this series for sure. I'm gonna watch the anime because I think it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I definitely don't think. I think if you watch the first 2 seasons of the anime, but the way that it ends, you're gonna want to be like, what the fuck? Like, I have to know what happens now. Because at the end of season 2 is where, like, things really start to change and the main characters really start to kind of get a scope of what's going on. And then it just ends there. And then you're just like, what the fuck? I gotta know more.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I hate that blue ball when you're just like,
the first
oh my
seasons,
God.
especially the first beginning of the first season, definitely does not do the show justice. And I think that's why it turned some people off and why it flopped so hard was because people got into it and they just assumed, like, oh, this show is like whatever. But then they just
that's a really good point, because if they're setting up like, oh, it'll all pay off when we reveal that was all fake. But then if you just watch the first season, like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a risk.
If you get all the way through to the end of the first season, you do get a big reveal at the end that kind of should hook you in. Like I said, you will figure out some more about the Seraphs by the finale, and what those mean for the main characters.
Well, where you guys are at, Megan and Cody, would you recommend this series to other people?
Yeah. I think if you like vampires, I think if you like cool concepts of, like, because this is pretty, like, original, even though it's kind of a mashup between things I've seen before, it doesn't bother me too much because it is done well. And now hearing that it's gonna, pay off in the end, I'm really looking forward to watching second season and then hopefully getting a third season, but then reading on until where Kiernan is right now. So I would definitely recommend it if you like that type of concept, Attack on Titan, vampire, Blue Exorcist, Promised Neverland shit. It's a Mod Podge of different things, but I like it. I enjoy it. I like the character designs and everything. So
yeah. Cody?
It's because it's not really, so far getting into, like, the first volume, it's not really about fighting vampires.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about wanting to, and you can see one, and then you get, like, the end of a vampire fight, and then you get, like, here's them fighting a child vampire. But I don't know if it's more about, like, demonic monsters than it is about vampires. So there's not really, in the beginning, it's like, okay, it's like a vampire society, but then it's like, well, no, they just kidnapped like 5 kids.
Yeah.
And they're like the vampires that I've seen so far, they're like fast guys with like claws.
Sure. Yeah.
From what you've seen.
Yeah.
You really haven't been able to see battles.
So I guess what I'm saying, or what I'm asking is, like, based on what you've read and versus what you know, would you recommend it to somebody?
Based on what I've read, I probably wouldn't recommend it.
But after you've heard what you've heard?
I mean, I'm going to keep going into it now because of what I've been told, but yeah, based on what I've seen of it, I'm trusting you guys. Tell me it gets better.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm like, it seemed like an okay thing that becomes a high school drama at some point, and then it goes.
Yeah, based off the first volume, I guess you would say that it is that way. Yeah. But that is, those are shows that you recommend to people, and you're like, trust me, like, you have to get through the first season because it gets so good. It's like that type of show or reading.
It's Shonen as well.
Yeah.
So
I would say treat volume 1 like a prologue, and then it's a more.
It really is, honestly. That's a good way to put it. Volume 1 is really kind of like a prologue, and then once you get into volume 2, start to learn a little bit more. Then they finally get out of the high school, and then it's very, very good from there on out.
Yeah, I want to give you a chance to sell it at the end, Kiernan, but I guess I want to reiterate what you guys are saying because I agree. I think getting through volume 1 is probably the most important part, and then once you do that, and I think especially if you're consuming it via the anime, I think it'll be super easy for you to power through those episodes where they are at the school and they are kind of introducing you to the world. But like I said, the mythology becomes so much more rich. The characters become so much deeper, and they become more fleshed out, and it becomes a world that becomes more and more interesting, and the genre and the story changes. And I think where I'm at, plus what I've heard, I'm going to continue to watch it, continue to consume it. I think it's fantastic. And honestly, there's a part of me that's just like, again, like I want to drive home how beautiful it is. There's a part of me that even if the story, didn't go to the places that you say it goes, Kiernan, like I'm just kind of like in awe as I watch it. And it's something that's so polished and so clean. And I love the lines on the animation. It's almost got this like Demon Slayer sort of like lines where they're like thick and thin. And it's just like this like beautiful style of animation. And it's something that I would recommend to people, but definitely with the footnote, just trust me, get through season, not season 1, but get through volume 1 and get through the first couple episodes. But I would highly recommend it, especially if you like, vampires and that sort of thing, even though it is a fresh take like Megan said. But Kiernan, how would you sell it to somebody? How would you, like someone who's still on the fence, like how would you get them to take the leap?
Sell them, if we're talking about the manga, I would sell them by, I would explain to them that the beginning might seem like one way, but it's a shonen series, so it's long. So obviously I wouldn't recommend it to someone that doesn't like shonen, but it's a shonen series, so you kind of have to understand, like, yeah, it's going to take a couple arcs to get into the real story. That's with every shonen, even shows like Bleach or Naruto. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it definitely takes, and I think people that have read manga will understand, and so I would just tell them like the plot of the show, and that like the first beginning is going to seem one way, but it gets a lot better, and everything is explained. Everything is explained. So there are a lot of plot holes, but I definitely am confident that by the end of the series, that they're going to fill it all in all the plot holes. They're doing the writer does really well. With the story crafting, and you can really tell that he really is passionate about this world that he's created, and it really is a whole world with history and lore, and there's probably dozens and dozens of characters you haven't even met yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good series, and I think it's really slept on. It's not that long either.
Yeah.
It's not even at 100 chapters yet. So
and it's still ongoing.
I think, yeah, I if anything, if people were hesitant to start it, I'd recommend like watching the anime first. That's what I did. Mm-hmm. I watched the anime first, the first 2 seasons, and then I picked up the manga from there, and then I went back and reread because I took a break, and then I went back and just like reread from the beginning again. And it was a really good experience doing that. But I do see what you're saying, especially once you've seen it all. The first like volume or 2 can be a little dragging. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad show. It just takes a while to develop. So it's more so if as long as you're in it for like the long haul. If you want like a long series that you can really get to spend time getting to understand the characters and the world, and you like shows that are really deep and dense like that. This is definitely a very like big like fantasy type of show that has it gets to a very like huge level, like so I definitely recommend it. It's worth it for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's pretty much going to do it for our review part of the episode where we talk about Seraph at the end. So I think it goes without saying, especially after what we've heard, definitely check out Seraph at the end. Like Kiernan said, it is kind of slept on. And so if more people watch it, we're more likely to get a 3rd season of it. So definitely check it out. And if you have already seen it, let us know what you thought about it. And if you decide to watch it because of something that we said, let us know too. Let us know what you thought. Either way.
Yeah. We've gotten like a couple of people telling us that they actually got into something because we said, and we all get together and we giggle to ourselves that happened. So we actually do care.
We do care. We really, really do care.
We send each other screenshots and we go, "Oh my god, it worked."
We're getting people to read more dope shit.
You to do
we
it.
did it.
Yeah. It's just cool to like find series like this that I've never heard of. I'm sure there are a lot of people obviously who have, but there are people like me who haven't. And so to introduce people to those series is just awesome. And especially if it gets the word out more and it means that more people consume it, therefore they make more of it. That's just a win-win for everybody, But yeah, Kiernan, thank you so much for joining us, man. Before you go though, is there anything else? Because obviously you have some pretty good taste in anime and manga. Is there anything that you're reading or watching right now that you want to shout out or recommend to anybody?
Yes. Currently, I guess if I want to, I'll plug a show that's like a newer show that like maybe people that aren't watching yet. Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay. Yeah.
You haven't watched it. I did a video on it, kind of explaining like what it's about, to kind of like get you into it or whatever. Because I think it's a really good concept, and if you like shonen, which it is a shonen, but if you like shonen, it does a very good job of throwing or using stereotypes, but in like a really fresh way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it uses shonen stereotypes, but it does it like very well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem as like shonen-y, because it does it all correctly and still makes it interesting. It's a really good series. There's only like 7 episodes out, but I if I start talking about like the plot and stuff, we'll be here for like 30 minutes. So I'm not gonna get into that.
Yeah, and we actually did it.
I'm watching and reading it. It's very good.
We actually did a review on Jujutsu Kaisen. We read volume 1, and I think the episode's called "Achy Fingies" because it's just about like those nasty fingers.
Love those fingies.
But yeah, that's another series too that obviously gets better the more you read. The first volume does seem kind of very shonen, but then it obviously becomes its own the more it goes on.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
And that's a show that's gaining a lot of popularity and traction too.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be.
It is. It's kind of nuts, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge series. But yeah, man, thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Kiernan, guys. Come on,
Yay!
Cody.
I was
Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, man.
fiddling with coins.
Okay, well, at least it's with coins.
Yeah.
Kiernan, you said you did a video on Jujutsu Kaisen. I know they can follow you at Buckshot, which you can spell out because for me, I was like, how do I pronounce this? But and also let them know where you can see that video too.
Yeah, it's just it's like buckshot, like as in like the shotgun ammunition, but with a W and a C instead of a K. So buckshot.
Very Russian.
Yeah, you can find very Russian. That was It's like it's a super like dense. You know, it's been a name that's been passed down through family generations.
Perfect.
No, I made it up last second.
Like all great names.
Like all great names, yes. How long did it take it for you to think of Josh Magic Michaels for your
That was a name that was given to me, dude. That was a name bestowed upon me. It was a ceremonial sort of thing. But where can they watch your?
He kept watching Magic Mike.
Yeah.
That's me. That's who I am.
He would be in his
he's
room.
just like me.
He'd be in his room and
like
he'd be
me.
practicing the dancing, and then
The ceremony
Yeah.
was watching Magic Mike back to back to back 14 times.
Like, yeah. Josh, how come your search history is just Magic Mike over and over again? It's like, oh, I was looking up a username.
oh yeah, it's for research. I'm researching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing what's taken.
It's also a great film, but that's besides the point. Where can they watch your Jujutsu Kaisen video and check out your YouTube channel? Obviously, Baka Boys Podcast, go check that out. But you have your own YouTube channel too, right?
Yeah, I do have my own YouTube channel. I only have one video, working on other videos right now. It's kind of like a slow process, trying to learn kind of how to do it, but it's a lot of fun. But definitely I have my Jujutsu Kaisen video on there. So just youtube.com/buckshot. Actually, I don't think so because I don't have 100 subs. So I probably don't have that actually. But if you just go to
get him to 100 subs. How about that?
That would be something else. But you can definitely go over to youtube.com/Baka Boys. You can check out my channel. It'll be right there linked. And definitely check out Baka Boys for sure, because we'll have a new episode coming out every week. A lot of fun. Volume 1 themselves are on there a couple times, and hopefully more in the future. So you definitely are going to want to check that out.
Yeah, dude. And if you haven't listened to our episode of the Baka Boys Podcast, you can check that out too. Check out their channel. Check out Kiernan. Go to volume1.com too, and you can find links to everything there, like our Facebook groups, our Patreon. If you want to join our Discord too, you can do all that. DM us and we'll send you a link to hop in there. But that's it. That's the episode, dude. Thank you guys. This was a lot of fun. I think this was another great episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Okay, so I think it's time. There's nothing else left to do but get out of here on our outro that's always the same and never changes, which today is what, Megan? I want to throw it to Megan automatically. Because
so
you always
pressure.
you always kill it. You always kill it every time.
Buckshot, more like bloodshot.
I mean another
Just
hit.
keep hitting the
Is
home
it
runs.
good?
buddy.
Oh fuck! I
another
thought that wasn't
home
very
run.
good. Okay.
All right, because it fits. It highlights our guest, and it's about blood and vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's what we always say at the end of an episode.
Yeah, that's what we always say.
Exactly.
Buckshot, more like bloodshot. Okay, here we go. Thank you guys, as always, for watching and listening. And until next time,
Buckshot.
Buckshot.
more like
bloodshot.
Wow, that was laggy. I'm going to suck your blood.
going to suck you dry.
I'm gonna suck you dry.